right, good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about layers in Photoshop here. We are going to make the image just like I have on the screen here with these astronauts here in this galaxy here. We're going to open up a file from our Google Classroom. So first we're going to go over to our Google Classroom here, and we're just going to go over here to classwork. And I want you to go down to your images file in module 1. So you go to images in module 1 and you'll find this Spaceman PSD. PSD stands for Photoshop document. It's one of these multi-layered documents. It's got a whole bunch of layers to it. Okay. I want you to not left click, but right click it. Use 2 fingers and right click. If you're not sure how to do that, you can go down to your tech tips and right down here it says right clicking with a touchpad. If you're using a Chromebook and say, Mr. G, I don't have a right click. Okay. But I'm going to right click that. I want to open that in a new tab. Okay, once I knew that in a new tab, I'm going to go ahead and go there, and it's going to say open with zip extractor. So it's a compressed file, so we need to unzip and expand all that so we can upload it into Photopea. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that zip extractor. If you don't have a extractor built into your browser, into your Chrome, you can just do a quick search of zip extractor and it's the first thing that comes up there, and you can just load that to your Chromebook. If you're having more problems, send me an email and we'll try to work through it. All right. So I got my zip extractor here, and I'm going to just click on that one time, and it's going to go about unzipping that file. There's my original file, Spaceman zip, and then Spaceman PSD, the unzipped file. So I just click that guy there, and I say download, click him, and then I say download that file. We're going to go ahead and click download that file, and that's going to take it to your downloads folder. All right, so from there, we're going to run over here to Photopea, okay? Again, this is what we're going to be making this image right here, okay? So first, I'm going to go and make sure I'm signed in. I hit account, log out real quick so you can see that. I'll say log in with Google, and I want to just log in with my school account, which is your at West Carrollton School District.K through 12.oh.us account. Okay, after that, you can go ahead and close that. Nothing else we need to do. Now I can go up here to our main command bar and say open. And I'm going to go to that downloads folder, and I'm going to look for that Spaceman PSD file that I just downloaded. There is that right there. It should look like that. You go ahead and push open. That's going to open that up into a new file here. All right, super. So let's review real quick where we came from. This is our main work area, remember? Okay, right over here we have our toolbar. Whatever tool is in our hand, remember, is what the toolbar is. And then whatever tool is in our hand, we have the option bar, which is right up here. And you'll see as I grab different tools, that option bar changes up there, right up here, because I have different options depending on what tool's in my hand. I have the main command bar right up here. I have our palettes and panels right over here. Up over here. We've got our history and layers panel. Today we're going to be talking specifically about those layers panels. And we have our move tool we talked about that has the bounding box. You make sure that you have your auto select and your transformation click there so you have that bounding box. We also talked about the zoom tool where we can zoom into things, and we can hold down our option key or alt key and switch back and forth between those two and zoom out. We also have our hand tool, which we can just access by holding down the space bar, so we can move our file around, and then we can hit Command 0 to go back to full screen. Okay, so that's some things we talked about before. Now today we're going to use our move tool a lot, resize some things. Again, we're going to make this file here try to look like this file here. And we're going to do that by way of discussing our layers panels. Okay, so we come over here and we have all kinds of layers, you'll see. We've got these layers that go from top to bottom. Whatever's on the very top is going to cover up everything else. Okay, so the astronaut right now is up towards the top of the list. And then I have this one above it called room. Okay, you see the eye is poked out here, so I can't see it. So if I turn that on, everything disappears. What happened, Mr. G? Well, it is still there. That astronaut is still there. You see her hand right there. If I get my move tool here and I move around, you can see that she's still there. She's just behind this room. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that turned off there. Okay, so there is all of our layers. I've got an astronaut, alien ship, Jupiter. You see I can click on these and that bounding box is going to bounce around and select them as I grab them, okay? All the way down to the stars, which are all the way in the background, okay? Some other things I've got here. Get this out of the way just a little bit. You'll see I have this lock right here. So if I get my lock right there, I can click on a layer. So let's go to stars there, and let's say we turn that off, okay? And we can turn it back on, okay? But what I can do, I can lock that layer, and you'll see that right now I can move that layer around. But what that lock does, if I hit the lock button while that layer is selected, it does what you think. It's going to lock that layer so that I can no longer move it around. It's locked in place, okay? Down here at the bottom, we got some controls we can do. We can link, we have effects, we have layer adjustments, we can add a mask, we can put them in folders, we can make a new layer, or we can also delete them in the little trash can down here. Okay, so let's play around with these a little bit here. So we're going to start up here with our astronaut. Let's turn a couple of these off to just make it a little simplified. So I'm going to turn off my astronaut. And then I've got my alien ship, which is this guy up here. See it with the bounding box here? So I'm going to grab it. I got my move tool in my hand. Go ahead and move here. It's kind of goofy, doesn't fit in. It looks like a toy. Let's go ahead and delete that. And let's talk about a few ways we can delete it, okay? So one way we can delete it, we can just hit the delete key and it goes away, okay? Another way I can do it, I can take it and I can just drag that layer down to the trash can. That also deletes it, okay? I could also select everything and then cut it with Command X, okay? Any of those three ways are all going to delete your file. Okay, so let's move on here. I've got Jupiter. I'm not sure if I want to use Jupiter. I'm going to close it for right now. Okay, let's go on to our galaxies right there. Let's make that galaxy nice and big. So we're going to grab our move tool and we're just going to grab the corner here and we're going to drag it all the way up. So it looks really big. And then I'm going to rotate it like 45 degrees. So I rotate it 45 degrees, put it in there, and then I have this nice big galaxy. Okay, and then we'll commit that transformation by hitting the check mark. Got that. I'm going to hit Command 0 to come back up. I'm going to go and collect my small planets here. Let's go ahead and select my small planets here. Let's move those all the way down here to this lower corner here. Let's make them a little bit bigger. Hold down that shift key so that it constrains it. All right, now let's duplicate those. Okay, there's a few ways we can duplicate those. We could select all and copy and paste them with just our edit up here. So I could do that. I could copy and paste them. I could also just right click here and I can say duplicate layer, and that'll say make a duplicate. It says now I have two sets of planets there. Okay. Or the other way I could do it, I could hit Command J, which is the quick key for duplicate layer, and it'll also duplicate those layers. So there we have two sets of planets, all right? Now, let's go ahead and we're going to delete one of these planets, okay? Let's rename this. I don't ever like small planets. Copy there. Let's go ahead and rename the layer. So click on it and just click on the word small planets, and you can, let's call it couple of planets. All right, but Mr. G, couple means two. So we're going to go in here and we're going to delete one of these, okay? So before we deleted a layer, it deleted the whole layer. If we want to delete one part of a layer in here, we'll have to use a selection. We haven't talked about selections. Selections are a way to isolate an area in Photoshop so you can affect it, okay? So our selection tools are right here. I have ellipses, lassos, and special selections. We're just going to get our ellipse tool here. If you don't have the ellipse tool, you can hold down. You might have the rectangle tool active, but if you just hold down, you can switch between rectangles and rectangles and squares. I'm going to get the ellipse tool because it's round and my planet's round. And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag over top the big planet. Okay, and that'll put this little dotted line around it there. Okay, now make sure I'm on the right layer. I have to have this there, and now that after it's selected, I can just push delete and that will go away. Okay, now I still have my selection active here, so I need to make it go away because remember it's isolating that area. We need to let go of that so we can do other things. So I am going to go to my select menu and say deselect. Now it is deselected. Now I've got my couple planets up here. We're going to go ahead and get the move tool. I'm going to move them up here. Let's rotate them just a little bit there. That looks pretty good. You can turn your stars back on. Check it out. Looks awesome. All right, let's go ahead and grab our astronaut now. Okay. There she is right there. So let's take our astronaut. Let's move her down here. Okay. And then let's make a duplicate of her. Again, we got three ways we can do it. We can select all by going Command A, Command C, Command V. We'll make a duplicate right there. So now I've got a duplicate like that. I could also right click and put duplicate layer, or hit Command J. Either one, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's change this one here. We're going to call this a layer, and we're going to call this astronaut Biggie. Okay, we'll take astronaut Biggie and we'll drag her up here. Now let's change her so she looks a little bit different, just like we did here. We deleted one planet. Let's go ahead and make her large. We're going to hold down that shift key and we're going to click and drag. Make her nice and large. Okay, still looks very similar. Okay, so let's rotate her a little bit. Still looks very similar. So let's do something. We'll do a mirror image. We'll flop her the other way so that we have a horizontal reflection of it. Now to do that, I don't have a quick key here for that, but I go up here to edit and transform. Remember, transform is a transformation, is Photoshop's way of saying we're going to change it somewhere. We're going to rotate it, we're going to resize it, we're going to distort it, okay? And you have all these different ways to do it, okay? We're going to go down here and we're going to flip horizontally. Okay, right there. So I hit flip horizontally, boom, she dances the other way. Okay, so now I'm going to take her and I want you to place her up in the corner. And let's just let her go off the screen a little bit until she's nice and big. Has a nice composition there, and like they're waving at each other. Okay, and then after that happens, I'll say commit that there. Okay, so that's where we're going to stop at today. Now we're going to take a screenshot of that, and then we're going to turn it into our Google assignment. Okay, so to take a screenshot, again, you say Command Shift and 3 if you're on a Mac, and it takes my screenshot, pops up right down there. If you are on a Windows machine, you just hit the print screen button, and that'll take your screenshot. If you are on a Chromebook, you're going to hit your Control and your Show Windows button, which is a little square with little lines next to it, right above your 5, 6, and 7 buttons on your keyboard, top center. Okay, and also over here in your classroom, you have a file on how to take a screenshot and any usage. Okay, after you do that, you're going to go to the assignment there for this week, and you will turn that in, and you're going to turn in your screenshot, which will either be in your downloads or on your desktop, depending on what kind of machine you're doing. All right, that's all we're doing. Have a great day, and I will see you all later. Do good work.